The studio lights blazed down on the vibrant set of The View, where the audience buzzed with anticipation for a special guest appearance by the legendary Denzel Washington. The hosts Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, and Alyssa Farah Griffina sat poised at their iconic round table, their smiles masking the electric tension that always accompanies a high-profile interview. Denzel, dressed impeccably in a tailored charcoal suit, strode onto the set to thunderous applause, his presence commanding the room with an effortless gravitas that only decades in Hollywood could forge. Whoopi introduced him with her signature warmth, recounting his illustrious career at 2 Oscars, countless iconic roles, and a reputation for speaking truth with unflinching clarity. The conversation began smoothly, with Denzel sharing anecdotes about his latest film, a historical drama exploring themes of faith, resilience, and justice. Joy leaned in, her eyes twinkling with curiosity, asking about the challenges of portraying such a complex character. Denzel's response was measured, his voice rich with conviction as he spoke about the power of storytelling to heal and unite. The audience nodded along, captivated, but a subtle shift in Sunny Hostin's expression hinted at something brewing. She adjusted her glasses, her lips pursing slightly, as if preparing to steer the conversation into deeper waters. As the segment progressed, Sunny posed a pointed question about Denzel's recent comments on social media, where he'd expressed skepticism about certain mainstream narratives surrounding current events. The crowd murmured, sensing the pivot. Denzel's smile tightened, but he answered with his trademark composure, emphasizing the importance of questioning what's fed to the public. Sunny pressed further, her tone sharpening as she challenged him on whether his stance was divisive in an already polarized climate. The other hosts exchanged glances, and Whoopi attempted to lighten the mood with a quip, but the air grew thick with tension. Denzel leaned back, his fingers drumming lightly on the table, his eyes locked on Sunny as he responded, not with anger, but with a calm intensity that silenced the room. He spoke of personal responsibility, of the need to seek truth beyond headlines, and of his frustration with being expected to align with any one narrative. The audience was riveted, some nodding in agreement, others shifting uncomfortably. Sunny, undeterred, doubled down, framing his words as evasive, suggesting he was sidestepping accountability as a public figure. The exchange escalated, each point met with a counterpoint, until Denzel's voice cut through with a quiet but piercing declaration, "I'm not here to be your symbol or your spectacle. I'm a man with my own mind." The studio fell silent, the weight of his words hanging heavy. Whoopi tried to steer the conversation back to the film, but Denzel's expression had hardened. He reached for his microphone, his movements deliberate, and the audience gasped as he began to remove it. Joy's eyes widened, and Sarah whispered something inaudible to Alyssa. Without a word, Denzel stood, buttoned his jacket, and walked off the set, his footsteps echoing in the stunned silence. The cameras panned to the hosts, who sat frozen, their faces a mix of shock and disbelief. The audience erupted into a mix of cheers and murmurs, some applauding Denzel's conviction, others confused by the abrupt exit. The producers scrambled in the background, and as the show cut to a commercial break, social media exploded with clips of the moment. Hashtags like #DenzelWalksOff and #TheViewClash trending within minutes. Commentators online praised Denzel's refusal to be cornered, while others criticized him for not engaging further. The moment was already being dissected, replayed, and debated across platforms, with fans and detractors alike weighing in on what had just unfolded. The View's official account posted a vague statement about passionate discussions, but it did little to quell the firestorm. Back in the studio, as the break ended, Whoopi addressed the audience with a strained smile, promising to continue the conversation, but the energy had shifted irrevocably. The clash, though brief, had become a cultural flashpoint, a testament to Denzel's unyielding principles and the power of a single moment to ignite a national conversation. The aftermath of Denzel Washington's dramatic exit from The View rippled through the studio and beyond. As the hosts regrouped during the commercial break, their voices hushed but urgent in the green room. Whoopi, ever the mediator, urged her co-hosts to keep the show moving, but the tension was palpable. Sunny sat with her arms crossed, her expression a mix of defiance and reflection, while Joy muttered about the unpredictability of live TV. Sarah and Alyssa exchanged nervous glances, unsure how to navigate the fallout. The audience, still buzzing from the moment, whispered among themselves, some pulling out phones to record reactions or post their thoughts online. When the show resumed, Whoopi took the lead, her voice steady but tinged with unease as she acknowledged Denzel's departure without delving into specifics. "Sometimes conversations get real, and that's what makes this show what it is," she said, attempting to frame the clash as a natural part of their dynamic. The other hosts nodded, but their discomfort was evident as Sunny's tight smile, Joy's forced chuckle, and Sarah's overly enthusiastic pivot to the next topic. The cameras lingered on the empty chair where Denzel had sat, a silent testament to the void his presence left. Offstage, producers were in a frenzy, fielding calls from media outlets and monitoring the social media storm. X was ablaze with reactions, from fans hailing Denzel as a hero for standing his ground to critics accusing him of dodging accountability. Memes circulated, some overlaying Denzel's exit with captions like "when you're done with the nonsense," while others mocked the hosts for pushing too far. Pundits on news networks began analyzing the moment, with some praising Denzel's composure and others questioning whether his walk-off was a publicity stunt for his new film. The viral clip, now viewed millions of times, showed Denzel's calm but resolute demeanor as he removed his mic, a gesture that spoke louder than any outburst could. Commentators noted how his exit wasn't theatrical but deliberate, a refusal to play into what he saw as a trap. On X, a user with a large following posted, "Denzel didn't storm off, he walked away with dignity." That's the difference. The sentiment resonated, gaining thousands of reposts, while others argued the hosts were simply doing their job by asking tough questions. The debate spilled into podcasts and blogs, with some framing the clash as a microcosm of broader cultural divide as a truth versus narrative, individual conviction versus public expectation. Meanwhile, Denzel's team remained silent, issuing no official statement, which only fueled speculation. Some fans speculated he was backstage, cooling off, while others believed he'd left the building entirely. A leaked report from a crew member claimed Denzel had shaken his head as he exited, muttering, "Not everything needs a sequel," a line that quickly became a rallying cry online. The views ratings spiked as clips of the episode dominated news cycles, but the hosts faced scrutiny for how they handled the exchange. Sunny, in particular, became a lightning rod, with some accusing her of antagonizing Denzel unnecessarily, while her supporters argued she was holding a powerful figure accountable. The discourse grew heated, with ex-users posting side-by-side comparisons of Denzel's calm responses and Sunny's pointed questions, dissecting every word and gesture. As the day wore on, celebrities began weighing in, with some praising Denzel's authenticity and others calling for more civility in public discourse. The moment transcended entertainment, sparking conversations about media dynamics, the pressure on public figures, and the fine line between accountability and provocation. By evening, the story was inescapable, with late-night hosts already crafting monologues about the clash, and the internet showed no signs of moving on. As the dust settled from Denzel Washington's walk-off, the cultural conversation it sparked only intensified, with every major outlet scrambling to unpack the moment. Newsrooms buzzed with analysts poring over the viral clip, frame by frame, noting Denzel's body language, his steady gaze, the deliberate way he unclipped his microphone, the measured pace of his exit. These details became fodder for endless think pieces, with headlines ranging from Denzel's dignified stand to The View's latest controversy. Did they go too far? On X, the hashtag #DenzelWalksOff trended for hours, with users posting reaction videos, some tearful in their admiration, others indignant on behalf of the hosts. One viral thread broke down the exchange, timestamping every escalation, from Sunny's initial question to Denzel's final words, "I'm not a symbol, I'm a man." That line, in particular, resonated deeply, quoted in op-eds and embroidered onto fan-made merchandise within hours. The View's hosts, meanwhile, faced a delicate balancing act. In the next episode, they addressed the incident cautiously, with Whoopi emphasizing respect for differing perspectives but avoiding any direct apology. Sunny spoke briefly, defending her role as a journalist while acknowledging the intensity of the moment. Joy, ever the provocateur, quipped that Denzel's exit was better drama than half the movies out there, earning a few laughs but also criticism for downplaying the tension. Off-camera, sources close to the show hinted at internal debates about how to handle such moments in the future, with some producers advocating for stricter guest vetting, while others saw the clash as ratings gold. Denzel, true to form, remained silent, letting the moment speak for itself. His absence from the public eye only amplified his mystique, with fans speculating about his next move. Some claimed he was spotted at a charity event later that day, unfazed, while others shared unverified stories of him addressing the incident in private conversations. A cryptic post from his official X account, a single image of a sunrise with the caption "Keep it moving," sent fans into a frenzy, interpreting it as a subtle nod to his resolve. The media, hungry for more, dug into Denzel's past interviews, unearthing clips where he similarly challenged interviewers who pushed too far, reinforcing his reputation as someone who doesn't bend under pressure. The clash also reignited discussions about The View's format, with critics arguing the show thrives on manufactured conflict, while defenders praised its willingness to tackle tough topics. Academics weighed in, with one sociologist calling Denzel's exit a masterclass in boundary setting, while a media studies professor noted the power dynamics at play when a black icon confronts a predominantly white media landscape. The conversation spread to international outlets, with European and African news sites framing Denzel's walk-off as a stand against Western media's tendency to pigeonhole black celebrities. Fan-made videos on TikTok and YouTube remixed the moment with dramatic music, turning Denzel's exit into an anthem of defiance. Meanwhile, the hosts faced personal scrutiny, with Sunny's social media flooded with both support and vitriol. Some users accused her of ambushing Denzel, while others praised her for not shying away from hard questions. The polarized reactions underscored the broader cultural fault lines the incident exposed at truth, accountability, and the expectations placed on public figures. By the end of the week, the story had transcended the initial clash, becoming a case study in communication, power, and authenticity, with Denzel's quiet exit speaking louder than any shouting match could. The ripple effects of Denzel Washington's walk-off from The View continued to dominate public discourse, as the moment was dissected not just for its drama but for what it revealed about media, celebrity, and societal expectations. Talk shows, podcasts, and even academic panels began analyzing the incident, with hosts like Stephen Colbert and Trevor Noah dedicating segments to it, blending humor with commentary. Colbert, in his monologue, praised Denzel's poise but jokingly suggested he might have stayed if offered a better coffee blend backstage. Noah, meanwhile, took a more serious tone, framing the clash as a symptom of a media culture that demands public figures perform rather than speak authentically. On X, the conversation evolved, with users creating polls asking whether Denzel was justified or if the hosts overstepped. The results were split, reflecting the polarized nature of the debate. Some posts highlighted Denzel's history of standing firm on his beliefs, citing interviews where he'd spoken about faith, family, and the importance of staying true to oneself. Others resurfaced old clips of The View's contentious moments, suggesting the show thrives on pushing guests to their limits. The incident also sparked a broader discussion about the role of talk shows in shaping public opinion, with critics arguing that The View's format often sacrifices nuance for sensationalism. Supporters, however, saw the clash as proof of the show's relevance, unafraid to challenge even the most revered figures. Denzel's silence in the days following only added fuel to the fire, with fans and detractors projecting their own interpretations onto his actions. A small but vocal group speculated that the walk-off was a calculated move to promote his film, pointing to the timing of its release, but most dismissed this, citing Denzel's long-standing reputation for authenticity. His past statements about avoiding Hollywood's games were widely shared, reinforcing the narrative that his exit was a genuine act of principle. The View's ratings soared, with reruns of the episode drawing record views, but the hosts faced ongoing scrutiny. Sunny, in particular, became a focal point, with some praising her journalistic tenacity and others accusing her of alienating a beloved figure. Whoopi, ever the diplomat, posted a cryptic message on X about learning through listening, which many interpreted as a subtle call for calm. Joy, meanwhile, leaned into the controversy, joking on air about needing a stunt double for these interviews. The audience response was mixed, with some appreciating the levity and others finding it tone-deaf. Social media platforms like TikTok saw an explosion of content, from lip-syncs of Denzel's "I'm a Man" line to skits reenacting the clash. Brands even got in on the action, with one coffee company playfully offering Denzel a lifetime supply if he'd return to the show. Behind the scenes, reports emerged of tense meetings at The View, with producers grappling with how to address the fallout without alienating their audience. Some suggested inviting Denzel back for a follow-up, but sources close to the actor indicated he had no interest in revisiting the moment. The incident also prompted reflection within the industry, with other celebrities privately expressing admiration for Denzel's resolve, while talk show hosts began rethinking how they approach high-profile guests. The clash became a cultural touchstone, referenced in everything from sermons to stand-up routines, with Denzel's walk-off symbolizing the refusal to conform. As the story continued to unfold, it was clear that this wasn't just a fleeting TV moment but a catalyst for deeper conversations about authenticity, media responsibility, and the power of walking away. Weeks after Denzel Washington's dramatic exit from The View, the incident remained a lightning rod for discussion, its impact reverberating across media, culture, and even politics. The clip of Denzel removing his microphone and walking off, now viewed tens of millions of times, had become a cultural artifact, endlessly remixed and analyzed. On X, users continued to debate the nuances, with some framing Denzel as a hero for rejecting what they saw as media overreach, while others argued he owed the audience a fuller explanation. The hashtags #DenzelWalksOff and #TheViewClash showed no signs of fading, with new memes and reaction videos posted daily. Late-night hosts kept the story alive, with Jimmy Kimmel joking that Denzel's exit was the most graceful mic drop in TV history, while Jimmy Fallon staged a playful reenactment with his staff. News outlets, from CNN to Fox, invited pundits to weigh in, with some calling the moment a turning point in how celebrities navigate public scrutiny. The View's hosts, meanwhile, faced ongoing pressure to address the incident more directly. In a follow-up episode, Sonny spoke candidly about the challenges of balancing tough questions with respect for guests, a statement that drew both praise and criticism. Whoopi doubled down on the show's commitment to real talk, but behind the scenes, reports suggested tensions among the hosts, with some feeling the clash had been mishandled. Joy's attempts to inject humor into the situation were met with mixed reactions, with some viewers appreciating her candor and others finding it dismissive. Denzel, still silent on the matter, was spotted at a community event in Los Angeles, where he focused on his work with youth mentorship programs, deflecting questions about The View with a polite smile. His refusal to engage further only cemented his image as a figure who prioritizes substance over spectacle. Fans on X launched a campaign with the hashtag #StandWithDenzel, sharing stories of his philanthropy and integrity, while critics continued to parse his words for hidden agendas. The incident also sparked academic interest, with media scholars publishing papers on the power dynamics of live TV and the cultural significance of Denzel's exit. One professor likened it to Muhammad Ali's refusal to be drafted, calling it a quiet rebellion against expectation. The View's producers, meanwhile, leaned into the controversy, teasing future episodes with more unfiltered conversations, a move that boosted ratings but drew accusations of exploiting the moment. Social media platforms saw a surge in content creators analyzing the clash, with some using AI to generate deepfake versions of the exchange, adding fuel to the already heated discourse. Celebrities like Jamie Foxx and Viola Davis publicly supported Denzel, with Foxx tweeting, "Sometimes you gotta walk to stand tall." The broader conversation shifted to the role of media in shaping narratives, with op-eds exploring how talk shows like The View navigate the line between journalism and entertainment.